Dear 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus, we just thank you for this Mountain Dew and for this Kentucky Fried Chicken today.
I picture Jesus with an angel band behind him, and I'm in the front row, and I'm just hammered drunk.
Is this really your favorite fucking movie?
Yes,
You
it
are
is.
unstoppable. Ready? 3, 2, 1. What's happening, pals, new and old? I'm your host, Parker Reil, and this is another special episode of the PALS Podcast. Woohoo!
Yeah.
We're back. That's right.
Sorry, headphone users.
Rip. All right, so Annie, try it. Annie,
Okay, I don't like LaCroix.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, I'm like costing you your LaCroix sponsorship.
it's pretty cheap.
She's trying the lemon, and the result is...
The lemon result, ick. The orange result. Yep.
Really glad you don't have video yet, because I just made really.
The day we do get video, though, we have to do this again.
Wait, so I'm confused. Are these sweetened like at all? Oh.
Oh, you read the can.
Yeah, I did read the can. Okay, that's why they taste like ass.
Yes. So, let me get the whole port. Let me get
I think I like the orange one better.
The orange
Really?
is good.
Because I taste the orange
Do you
essence.
want one?
I think
I don't
no.
like-
Okay.
orange-flavored things in general.
No, that's
so
just
Oh,
sad.
that
Look.
makes sense.
It's because when I was like 7 or 8, I was over at my friend's house, and they had an assorted box of chocolates.
Oh, God.
And there was there was a chocolate that was filled
Has-
with orange stuff, and I didn't know because I was just like, oh, there's some chocolate. I'm gonna eat some chocolate.
And then
I bit into it, and I was like,
I don't really like orange and chocolate together. It's
No,
kind of a
To
nice
my
combo.
left, everybody, is the one and only Taylor Winks. She's back.
you're welcome.
She just did such a banging job on the last one.
We had such a wonderful time
We really
together,
did. And not that anybody else did any worse.
but I did the best.
Stop. And we had this episode planned ahead of time. You were actually supposed to be on this episode before you were supposed to be on the last one.
That's correct, but I finagled my way into episode 7.
Fucking shocker.
bitches.
Am I right?
The finesse.
And to my right, a freshman here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in the Johnny Carson School of Theater and Film, we have Annie Wang, a first-timer.
Thank you.
So glad that you're here.
Popping my podcast cherry.
Oh, man. I love that. So, into the housekeeping. First of all, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you, everybody, for all your support on the last episode and the article that was written about me and PALS and the PALS podcast in the Daily Nebraskan.
And Mitchell.
And Mitchell, yes. Mitchell had some quotes in there. And I told him this, but those quotes made me cry. Like,
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Aw.
When I
A soft chungus.
Stop. I got out of the shower and I read the article and I'm standing in front of my window in the towel and I just started crying. I was like, yeah, because it's bro stuff. Bros don't talk about that all the time, which is a masculinity
podcast.
problem.
Yeah,
Yes.
another podcast idea. Toxic masculinity
there you go.
traits.
And so when I saw him later that day, I gave him a big hug. And now, friends, in case you didn't know, Mitchell is the content strategist here at PALS. So he is taking care of all of the social media. So in fact, he gave me a job tonight. We have to take pictures. So let's take a selfie right now.
Let's take a picture with my iPhone because you have
no,
an Android.
Fully bundled.
I have the best camera on the market, you motherfucker. This is the Pixel 3 XL. You understand?
It's debatable.
We'll see.
I'm coming at you.
This is...
How are we going to do this?
I don't
we
know.
should just
It's
take
a
the
very-
picture later.
Yeah, you're probably
This
right.
is a
Well, I'm going to take a picture now because, well...
Just... Okay.
So, yes, thank you, everybody, for going. And we had a huge boost in people listening to the show, which was great. Thanks for liking our new Facebook page because I didn't know how to do that before and Mitchell did. So.
You didn't know how to create one?
I did, but I didn't know how to run it very well. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. We can't wait to grow. On the big 10th episode, we are going to talk about our growth and all sorts of things future pals. So stay tuned. We got 2 more. This is episode 8. 2 more. Ocho. Nueve Diez.
Yes.
Will be the big one. I'm saying these so poorly.
Yes.
So yes, thank you for helping us grow our social medias. And in case you don't know, you can find us at just by typing in PALS on Facebook. You can find our Facebook page, and you can find us by searching at PalsBeanPals_ on Twitter and Instagram, where you can see all sorts of quotes, little clips of the audio from the podcast, because that's something that Mitchell came up with, and I think that is a fantastic idea.
Oh, that is smart.
I know. Well, you're dating a genius. Did you know that?
Wow.
Cheers to that, L'chaim.
Wow.
Am I
Cheers
right?
to that.
L'chaim.
Cheers to that.
Ooh. So, pals, you could probably tell that the energy in this room is a little bit more controlled than it usually is. Am I right?
Just a smidge.
And the reason that is because today we are talking about a sort of heavier subject, something that we haven't really dabbled too much in here at the PALS podcast. But I think it's something that is going to be good. I really look forward to having this discussion. And that discussion is the struggles of being a working creative.
Dun dun dun.
She's here.
No. So Robert will not be used this evening. He's really sad about it. He's sitting over here, and I gave him a good spin just for the sake of it, but he will not be used because we got together before the show and really talked about like what we wanted to talk about and how we wanted to go about it.
I think it was really important for us to talk about and solidify exactly what we were going to be said.
Yes.
Because I think if we were to just dive into this blind without really talking about each other's questions, I think it could have been, I don't want to say triggering, but like possibly triggering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't know like what is safe and what is not safe to talk about.
Absolutely. And I wanted to make sure that ahead of time that like there's stuff that each of us have gone through that is like hard and it's hard to talk about. And so this is definitely like a place where people need to feel safe, and like that's like one of my things is like just don't be an ass to people and make them feel like crap. And so don't be an ass, bro. So before we jump into this, just kind of a disclaimer, and we talked about this beforehand. I think this is something that I wanted to get out in the air and said before we started, that we understand that this episode is different because of A, it's darker, but B, we wanted to make sure that people understood that we are not just going to sit here and whine about how hard what we do is, because there are a lot of other professions and a lot of other industries that struggle just as much as we do. Obviously, like we chose to be in this field, and we chose to be artistic and creative, and we didn't choose to be artistic and creative, but we chose to be in
We chose to go down that path.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because it's like that thing of like Taylor, you and I were talking about, like from day one, we always knew that this was this.
There was no other choice.
Exactly.
Yeah. It
Thank
was either
you.
this or nothing.
Right. And we'll get to Annie's story, but so yes, just keep in mind that like we are not trying to like play crybaby, that our life is so hard, because there's people in my family that like have served in the military, and like there's other things is what I want to point out. So without further ado, shall we get into it, ladies?
I think we
Yes.
shall.
I think it's okay to do so. Yes.
Yes. Annie?
Indeed. Let us proceed. I'm like NPR today. I'm putting my NPR hat on.
I like that.
Hello,
hat.
welcome to NPR Radio.
You bring an NPR style to the PALS podcast.
Yes.
What is NPR?
National Public Radio.
Yeah.
Oh.
You ever heard of it?
Yes. Do you run a national public radio?
No, I
thing?
wish I ran National Public Radio. Jeez.
I was like, do you have like your own radio show?
Yeah.
No,
Why do
they
you think
always-
I brought her on?
I don't know if this is like a specification for working at NPR, but like they all have like really calm voices.
Oh,
Yeah.
you work there?
No, I wish I did.
You can
God.
listen to it.
Look, cut this out. Cut this part out. Bailey's an idiot.
I always, when I listen to it, it's like, welcome to NPR Radio.
Ooh.
And they play like fast jazz.
Yeah.
And, like classical music. Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm so chill right
Mouth
now.
trumpets.
Yay.
No, Annie, I think your voice would work really well. It's very
Thank you.
soothing.
You know,
Thank you.
I'm excited to listen to this and listen to all of our like different tones
Compared
and
to the
voices.
last episode?
I was just
Yeah.
talking about this to like I think Marisol or something, but like
Really?
I hate the sound of my voice.
Marisol, someone who also was on the PALS podcast. Throwback to episode 4.
We stand Marisol.
We stand Marisol.
Stan.
Endorsing her.
Isn't it hard to hear your voice?
Yes, because like what you hear is not like
What it sounds like.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, shit.
The first time I heard it, I was like, I can never be a public figure. I was
Yeah.
like, nope. And
I
now look what
enjoyed
we're doing.
listening to my voice on the podcast.
I like it
Your
now.
voice is nice.
Thank you. I didn't really like people have said that to me before, but I never really understood it.
I didn't know why they were right.
Yeah.
I'd let you read an audiobook to me.
Oh,
Oh, that's cute.
that would be so much fun.
So please read all of my plays.
Yeah, just
For
everything we write.
Ian's class.
Oh my god, I would.
So the way today is going to work is we have these questions lined up already. So it's not going to be a random process. It will just be this kind of semi-structured set of questions, which I think is going to be nice and is going to be interesting. So should we get into the first one?
Yes.
So today's topic is obviously the struggles of being a creative. Well, before we talk about that, we should probably know what your struggles are. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Taylor, why don't you go ahead and take us through? Don't laugh.
Hey, this picture's still here
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
if you need it.
Annie
Annie drew me without looking.
It's beautiful.
At
It's
the
pretty
drawing
bad,
while she was
but
doing
it's
it. I look
okay.
like a man trucker driving down I-80. Yeehaw.
got a trailer full of cows.
Moo.
Okay. So, Taylor, what are your struggles as a creative?
I think the biggest struggle that I deal with on a day-to-day basis is being very hard on myself, and I'm a very competitive person. I did the Clifton Strengths Finder test.
Ooh.
It's a wonderful test,
And I have wonderful strengths, but my number 2 strength is competition. And I wasn't really sure of what that meant until I started thinking about it more and more.
So,
And I don't necessarily have competition between other people and myself. It's all within me. I have competition to be the best for myself, and I have competition to be enough, because a lot of times I don't feel that what I'm doing is enough, or that I am enough for like whatever part I'm going out for, that my writing isn't good enough, my personality isn't good enough, I'm not good enough to be with somebody, to be friends with somebody, to just participate in this industry
sure.
as a whole, basically.
So is that because we all know what you do? Do you want to talk about like specifically what art form and that you do?
Right now I'm a theater performance major at the University of Nebraska at the Johnny Carson School of Theater and Film. But I don't necessarily want to pinpoint myself as a one-trick pony, like, oh, I'm just an actor. I really enjoy directing. I've been doing that and putting my eggs in that basket and thinking about what future that could hold for me. I've also been writing recently. I'm trying to write a play right now about some past struggles that I've dealt with to try to put my negative emotions into a positive outlet to help. I've been doing that a lot, but recently when I've been trying to write this play, it's about my past relationship with my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And it was a really big struggle that I had to deal with. And I think that's where a lot of my struggles stem from, is not being good enough and being kind of
Hard on yourself.
emotionally and mentally manipulated from him.
Got it.
Ooh.
And that's still kind of stuck with me, which obviously I don't want that. You know,
Right,
nobody
yeah.
wants that. But it's something that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I also wanted to say that we're not having this conversation to ask for pity from
no.
people.
No.
I think it's strong of us to be talking about this, so we're opening up the conversation. I'm a very guarded person when it comes to my emotions, and it's hard for me to open up. And so I think me doing this is a really big step forward for 2019 goals that I have, to be more open and vulnerable.
I'm so glad that you wanted to do this. Because I don't remember exactly how it went, but I had mentioned this epised, and you were like, please.
We were at a party together.
We were at a party together.
At this house.
At this house. We were upstairs. We were in the kitchen.
Intoxicated.
I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, I want to do an episode about like my struggles and why I struggle and like why my friends struggle. And you were like, I have to be on that.
And that's when I opened up to you about everything. And I was like, let me be on this podcast.
So Taylor, you were talking about how your struggles are you're competitive with yourself and you push yourself to.
I also have like developed a lot of anxiety around that.
Sure.
And I didn't understand that I had anxiety until within the past year, I think.
Okay.
I always assumed that like, I felt like I was crazy, like in my own head.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to talk to other people about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily have a good background into what anxiety is and why it is.
So how do you deal with that now? I guess.
a big part that's been helping me is Mitchell.
Yeah.
Which is really
That's funny because on the last one.
I know.
No, but
it's
it's
so sappy,
it's
but like he's
fine.
been a really amazing person in my life, and he's helped me tremendously with growing and being more open and just being oh my god.
So soft.
I know, right?
I ship.
Thank you.
We stand.
He's a wonderful human being, and I appreciate everything that he's done for me within the last 9 months of us being together and just him being in my life for the almost a year, over a year.
Nine or so months, you said last time, right?
Yeah, we've been together for 9 months, but he's been a friend since last January.
Yeah. So he's helped you with these struggles.
Mm-hmm. He's
Great.
very understanding.
Yeah.
And I think that's mostly what I need because I'm a very good listener to other people's problems.
Yes, I can attest to this.
I love listening and I like observing other people, and I just take a step back and watch most of the time, and I don't like to confront what I'm dealing with or put that on other people because I am listening to what everybody else is going through. And so he's the only person that I feel the most comfortable with sharing all of my struggles, and like he's the only person that's been helping me as much, like who's made such a large effect, a positive effect on my life in that way. And I really appreciate his partnership in that way.
So it already sounds like, even though you have these struggles in your creative work and your acting and your directing, that you kind of already have like started to figure out how to deal with those.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on more on that when we get to that.
Yeah.
That part
My
of it.
bad.
No, you're fine. So yes, thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Annie,
Hello.
your struggles of being a creative.
I think to sum it up as a whole, it's more just like proving myself and like proving myself to many different types of people. I will start by talking about my family.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, so like in high school, I was like, I should like focus on school and like do something that's probably more viable and quote unquote realistic.
Yeah.
And like, I think like my parents knew that I wanted to do art like my whole life and stuff. But like they were just kind of like, well, like there's some good intentions behind it. Like I can see where they're coming from. Immigrant family, like they know what it's like to struggle like work-wise and put in all those like hours and stuff like that and do work that's not necessarily the most enjoyable. And they just wanted me to like support myself.
They wanted to see you succeed.
Yes. But through that, it's just been kind of a struggle just because, like, they kept trying to talk me into other professions. Like, I remember for a while, my mom was like, are you sure you don't want to, like, be, like, a pharmacist? Or maybe, like, do architecture? Or, like, I was just like, no. It's not for me.
No thanks.
It's just, like, the worst
Thanks,
is,
but
like...
no thanks.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, I was good at school. I could have done, like, literally anything else,
you wanted.
probably, and done fine, but I think I would have been, like, miserable.
Yes. You would have struggled.
I would have
Ooh.
struggled.
Hot word
Yes.
of today.
So there's that, and like the whole just like there's some stereotyping in like Asian American culture how we're like you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and like there's some truth to that. There's not, like all of my Asian American friends are doing something, like they're going into pre-med or whatever.
So you struggled a lot with like proving yourself in that culture and like into your parents, it sounds like.
Yes, and just like because there's not really any other, it's not really a popular thing in my family. I don't think anyone else is really an art major
Wow.
or anything like that. But although they did like I played piano growing up, which was my choice. Not parents didn't force me to do that.
Let me be clear.
And like if I wanted to draw, like they were cool with that. Like they let me draw. And like my grandma like takes a drawing class. It's really cute.
Heck yeah.
And they all like, they were like into art. They just like they were just kind of weird about like
Pursuing
doing that as
it for a career.
as a profession. And I think along with that, like the other thing I have to like prove myself is like I did a paper in high school, a research paper about like representation in the media. We talked about like how women of color are kind of like non-existent in the film industry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the depiction of women of color in the industry is like, or just in media is just like bleh. And there's a lot of there's a lot of progress that needs to be made.
Yes.
And so like that's kind of another thing I'm trying to like, okay, Asian American woman trying to make it in the industry, trying to tell my story and make sure we're not being erased, because it's not necessarily like terrible things are happening to us, and we're not like facing a lot of violence or anything like that, but like just kind of feels like we're a little bit like not really there.
So it sounds like you're kind of struggling as well to like, I mean, you said you're talking about proving yourself, but also like proving yourself, not just you, but like who you are, like on that cultural kind of level.
Yeah. Just like, hey, I'm here.
That's cool because
I'm here to make art.
Because like when you told me that before, like in our pre-show conversation, you were talking about like you were struggling with like proving yourself. I didn't even put it to that magnitude of, hi, I'm Annie and I'm a person of color and like I'm struggling with this. Like I did not put that piece in the puzzle, and that's cool.
Yeah. And where is it going with this? I don't know.
That's how I go every day.
Yeah. Like Crazy Rich Asians came out last year, which was like pretty hype. But like, we gotta start normalizing that.
Yep.
It's not just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
It's kind of sad. I can't remember. There is like something recent about like, it's like the first blah, 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 insert ethnicity director, but that's one like something, and it's always been like super recent. And I'm like, I know we should be celebrating that, but it's kind of sad that it's like taken us this long.
Was it Guillermo del Toro when he won for Shape of Water as Best Director?
Maybe. I think it was someone else. Not sure.
I don't know.
But just like those kind of things, I'm like, oh, like that's good, but also like, dang, it's 2019 now.
Or like, I know the first, I think it's Filipino actor to play Hamilton on Broadway was just announced. And it's like, that's amazing. Obviously, that should be applauded. But at the same time, it's like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hello? It's 2019.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, Parker and I are white.
Yes, we are.
So we have no idea to the magnitude of, like, what any person of color is going through.
No, and it's, I mean, I'm not trying to make this about me at all, but it's like something that I myself am like, what can I do to make this better? What can I do to have this recognition and for these people and just somebody other than me? Like, I just don't want it to be about us anymore. And it's because it's like, I can see how, what, like you were talking representation in the media. Like, I see that, and I'm like, that's not okay. And like, even last night, like there were friends of mine who were women just talking about like how they were represented and like how they don't want to feel this way anymore. And it just made me sad. I'm just like, wow, this is.
It's about being an ally.
Yeah, like basically just like moving out of the way for people that like need to be heard and help like lifting them up. Because like I have some privileges too, obviously. Like I'm not. And like it's just important to like give people a platform.
Yeah,
of course,
and just like recognize that they're there.
That's a very
very simple.
It's such a simple thing, but so many people
it's a struggle.
don't understand it.
Yes, it's a struggle that when we like I said probably 2 or 3 minutes ago when we had this pre-show talk and you said that was your struggle, I was like, oh well, that's not. I didn't even come to mind that that's what we were talking about. So I think that's really cool. Not that it's cool that that's a struggle, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
Cool.
Yeah.
For me, I have struggles. That's why I'm on this episode. Otherwise, I just would have let Taylor host this.
Who would have thought?
You should have a guest host. Let me host
like I told you, when I'm gonna be upstairs reading naked. That you remember at the end of the last episode I said, what? Yeah, you guys can do it. Annie, you obviously haven't listened to the last episode, but at the end,
I'm
called
sorry.
you out. You can remember at the end I was like, yeah, you guys can do a podcast and I'll just read upstairs naked.
Oh yeah.
First I was like, I hope you're talking about a book titled Naked and you're not just like reading.
Don't worry, I don't do that. It was just a joke. I struggle with sort of. Well, a lot of things. Several things like Taylor was talking about of competition. When you said that really like reminded me. Cause I'm a perfectionist by heart and I want everything I do to be perfect. And if it's not, that's it's not okay. And that's why PALS and the PALS podcast is something weird for me because usually I would have sat down for months trying to make this as perfect as possible. And instead we just did it, which, worked out.
Yeah.
But with that, I want to be so perfect that it can always lead, and it always does lead to procrastination, where I wait till the last moment to do what I'm supposed to do as a creative. For example, after this show, I am going to go and try and finish a script that I need to turn in for Film Pro 2. And
is it due tomorrow?
It's supposed to be.
Oh.
But here, I do have a small defense of I didn't really know that I was going to have to write this until Thursday. Very fortunate to be writing it. Very much looking forward to it. But I tell myself that this has to be perfect, and that's why it takes me so long to get through it. My struggle is I just don't do it because I'm like, well, you're not in the right headspace, or you have other things to do right now, and it just builds and builds and builds, and then it gets to a point it's like you need to either do this or quit because like you. And so what happens is like when I do procrastinate is I will just wait, and then I'll start to like tell myself that you can't do this, like you've taken this long and you don't have any ideas, and so you just shouldn't do it. And so it then becomes a lack of motivation. So like my three big struggles in order of events is competition within myself, which leads to procrastination, which then leads to lack of motivation. So
Boom, boom, boom.
bam, biggity, bop. So I was telling Taylor and Annie, you as well, before the show started, of like it's like like in my writing, in my screenwriting, like I like to write scripts and I like to come up with ideas for movies or video games, and just write them, at least when I am motivated. But like I have such small windows of creative mobility where I'm moving through an idea and I'm like pushing through it. I'm like coming up with these things. All right, this is how this person talks. This is how this story is going to go. This is the 3-act structure. Those things are so few and far between that oftentimes I don't have the time to take opportunity of them. And so then it's a struggle of where do I move from here? You know, like how do I think about this idea? How do I develop this idea further? Which then kind of leads back to I procrastinate and then I just don't want to do it anymore. Like, for example, I came up with an idea for, and I talked about this on the show before, Second and Sycamore, my feature length screenplay idea. I came up with it over a year ago. It was about this time last year that I came up with it. And I was moving through the idea, man. I had like 20 pages of notes in my notebook. I was like ready to go. This is what's going to happen. These are these characters are going to talk. This is their relationships. These are their friendships, the good guys, the bad guys. And then just gone, nothing. And it's that grind of like trying to figure out where to go. And then I got to a point where like I just wasn't doing it anymore. Therefore the procrastination. And then when I revisited it, it's like I was mad at myself because I wasn't in that same headspace that I was before of pumping through an idea. And so then it's just like, it's hard to like push through that.
Yeah. I think that like creatively we're always our like own worst enemy.
Oh yeah.
Like I think we just like psych ourselves out a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
And like a lot of people say like the best way to get through art block is just to push through it and keep on creating until you're like out of it. Because like, and I've always lived by this, but like for every like maybe 50 pieces that you put out or whatever works that you make, maybe only like 10 of them will be good, or 5
or 1.
But like the most important thing is that there's that 1 or there's that 5,
or that you did 50 of those in general.
Exactly, because you're only going to get better. You can't, I mean, you could get worse, but that's kind of pessimistic. But
and I think that touches on one of our other questions that we'll get to, because I have some thoughts on that. But our second one that we came up with that we wanted to come next was, when do you struggle? We might have covered this in the first one, but maybe we can just kind of touch on it here. So Taylor, when do you feel like you struggle the most?
I struggle the most, I've realized, during an audition or when I'm preparing for an audition.
Okay.
When I walk into a room, I completely freeze and I don't know how to act like my weird self. I'm just like, a more weird version of myself that's like not cool to talk to. Yeah, I'm like,
I'm Taylor Winks.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I don't know what to do with my hands. And I freeze up and I get mad at myself because I'm like mentally there.
Yeah.
But like physically, I don't know what like blocks me up. And
I just spilled on the table again.
Idiot.
Okay.
Lick it up. Lick the table.
I'll just move it around with my fingers.
You just made it worse, Parker.
Shut up. Continue.
Okay.
When do you struggle in an audition?
Yeah, I psych myself out. I overthink. I overanalyze every little thing that I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The last audition I had, I said the wrong play.
Oh
From
my
what
god.
monologue I was doing. Yeah, I know. Literally. And I didn't realize it until like halfway through my second piece, and I was like, wow.
So what did you do?
Oh, you're like, oh, this is a...
I don't know what I did. I mean, like, I did the pieces that I had rehearsed, but like whenever you slate, you're like, you say, hello, my name is, you say your name. Hello, my name is Taylor Winks. Today I'll be doing blah, blah, blah piece from blah and blah, blah, blah piece from blah. I said one piece that I was doing a monologue from, and then another play that I was not doing a monologue from. And I didn't realize I said that until my second one that I like messed up like the title from, and I was like, wow.
So when in your audition and you like freeze up like that, that relates to your struggle of like being competitive with yourself?
Yeah, because they always teach you in acting classes like, oh, everybody there like wants you to succeed. Like they're there to, they like want you to do well. They're not there to like, oh, I hope she does poorly. Because obviously they want to like cast people,
Right.
and they're excited to be like seeing you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I can't get past that mind of like, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna blow it. I'm gonna fucking blow it.
Here we
Literally,
go.
in auditions class last semester, I was so terrible. Like I just can't. And like even right now, I'm like dogging on myself because I'm sorry, I'm like playing with my Velcro.
No, it's okay.
I just get so in my head and so anxious about it that I'm not good enough, and why would they want me anyways?
Sure.
But I know that I don't mean to be that person, but like I know I'm talented.
Fuck
like
yeah.
I know
No,
I'm
yes.
great.
talented.
You would not be here. You would not be like I like to tell like there's people who are like I'm not good enough, like I'm not doing this. It's like these programs are not that easy to get into. We would not be here if it weren't because we worked our ass off.
No, exactly. And that's why like I know I have the talent. I know I have the tenacity. I know how I have the drive to be here.
Yep.
And the want to be here. And I know I'm not shit.
You
I
ain't
just
shit.
don't know how to like
You
convey
ain't
that
shit.
to myself like deep down in my big girl bones.
Yeah,
And like
you're here
just get
for a
over
reason.
myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing. I can't get over myself.
Yeah.
Like Annie was talking about, like we are our own biggest.
Yeah.
I am the biggest critic. Literally, when I watch myself on film, I'm like, oh, I see there's a zit right there, Taylor.
And I'm like,
Well,
you
yeah.
like
And you're like, what are you,
Shut
what?
up. Like we were doing playback on Underlying Fear, and you're like, did I do it right? And I was like, what are you talking about? That was great. Like, I would have wanted you to act that way. Like, stop.
But still, even like when you're saying this, I'm sitting over here like, oh my fucking god.
He's so wrong.
I still haven't seen it. I want to see it before April. Adam
You
or John,
will.
if you're listening to this, please let me see a cut of Underlying Fear.
They've got stuff to do. They want you to see a good version.
Well, I want to see a good version before everybody else sees
Oh
it, so
my
I know what I'm
God.
going into.
Jesus. So Annie, when do you struggle?
I think I struggle when I get busy because then I get overwhelmed and then I'm like, oh no, I have so much shit to do. I'm going to die. And I get stressed out so easily. Like, if any of my friends are listening to this, they know. I'm like a ball of stress. I remember I was working.
Listen, I've seen you stressed, and I can tell you that yes.
I swear,
do
like
you
the
act like when
temperature
you're
changes
stressed?
like 2 degrees or something. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go home. Like, well, like I remember I was working on my Cornell box, and like I remember there was a day where we were just like,
Love
oh, we
that
have
project.
like 2 weeks left. I just wanted it to be good because I think that's like the thing when you're like you're an art person.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're not doing it for money. You're doing it because you want to like put your art there and you want to perfect your art and you want to do a good job and like, you know, you don't want to. I don't think artists tend to half-ass things if they really,
Hell
if they're really
no.
passionate.
yeah.
They don't really half-ass anything.
Mm-mm.
So like being an artist is just like you're always like working at something for like too long and like with the Cornell box I wasn't stressed about the grade. I was stressed about making it look good. I remember I was doing paper mache and I was so out of it and I was so tired and I was like, this is gonna be terrible. I've never done paper mache in my life. This stupid like paper towel. And it's all slimy and disgusting. It was just like really bad. I was like shaking. I think it was like either Abby or Allie. They thought it was really funny and I was like, thanks.
So you're talking about like when you struggle is like when you have a lot of things to do.
Right.
How does that relate back to your struggle of like you're trying to prove yourself? Is it because you have so many things to prove yourself for?
Well, I think the other thing is like, I guess in high school I was so preoccupied because like I wanted to apply to this like super prestigious school and I like wanted like
Which
you have
one?
to have USC and I got very rejected. So if someone from USC is listening to this,
God, I hope so.
I'm upset, but it's fine now because I'm paying significantly less money to go to Lincoln.
Oh hell yeah!
Well, like they don't only care about your portfolio; they care about like your grades and
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
So like I was just like, well, now I gotta worry about having good grades. But like once you're at that level, like prestigious schools don't care about your 4.0; they care about your 4.0 and like, did you
Your
cure
10.
cancer?
Oh
did
my
you
God.
like do like tennis club and like?
Humanitarian
Were you
work
like
with
the
UNICEF.
assistant to like the president? Like they want
Are
all
you the
these other
president?
things.
Are you the-
Are you the
fuck.
president? And like I think
That was good.
like my struggles, like I'm so busy with like homework that I can't work on my portfolio, can't work on like my passion projects, and I feel like I kind of get that sense this year too, because like
There's a lot to do this
I want to
year.
work on my screenplay, but I gotta be doing all these other things for school.
And it's hard. Do you find it hard to like do those things that you want to do, like your passion projects, because you
Yes.
have all these? Yes.
Fuck
And
school.
like I cranked my treatment out like over break,
Right.
but now I'm like it's just sitting there, and I feel like you can't like I hate doing something and then having to put it down because then I get distracted and
Yes.
it's like it's halfway. If you're in the zone, then you're in the zone. You're gonna sit down for 8 hours.
That's
and do
just
whatever you
yes.
need
That's
to.
exactly
Yeah.
like what I was talking about, man. I
If
totally
you don't
agree.
have time for it, then you don't have time for it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You can't pick it up.
It's the blessing and the curse of being in an arts program is because they give you art to make, but you have your own art that you want to make.
right.
Yeah, it's not always the kind of art that you want to be focusing on.
Right.
And then it approaches a question of, okay, so I have this I need to do, this I want to do. How do I compromise that? Okay, here's how I do that. So I spend all day working on school stuff, and then I spend all night working on my own stuff,
No,
or
no,
vice
no,
versa,
no.
and then I don't sleep, then I
No,
don't eat.
Parker.
Well, like
Like
you-
that's how I go.
you gotta eat your vegetables, but you want to eat your cake too. But then by the time you get to your cake, you're already too full.
Yes,
Boom.
you're full of vegetables.
Queen of metaphors.
Fucking Annie, man.
What I've been
yes.
doing is obviously all of us are always fucking busy all the time.
Oh,
and
true.
It sucks because you don't know how to. I'm very good at managing my time, and I'm very.
God bless you.
Yeah.
I'm a very organized person. I have a planner. I write everything down. I have a calendar. I write everything that I need to do. I take out all my syllabi.
Ooh.
That's right. I hit you with the syllabi.
I gotta
Wow.
crack a cold one on that.
Ooh.
Ooh, crispy.
I've gotten good at this. All right.
So I open up my syllabi that I get at the beginning of each semester, Parker, and I write down like all the major assignments and projects that are due. And for my
my.
daily things, like for each week that I need to accomplish, I look at everything that I need to do and say, okay, what can I feasibly accomplish on Monday,
what can I pass
on
off?
Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? Because you can't do 15 things in one day.
Yeah.
You just there's no way you can do it.
It's
and so many people try to like put their hands in so many cookie jars at one time, and you can't do
You're
it.
gonna get stuck in them jars.
Exactly. And you're going to get overworked and exhausted. And it pains me when I see people like that because it's like, I want to help you, but I don't know how to help you.
This is kind of off topic, but
That's okay.
LaCroix tastes like Alka-Seltzer. That's what it was. I've been thinking about it the whole time. I'm like, what the hell
You
does it
trying to
taste
put
like?
a word to it? Well, I must like Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah. I like the lemon.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Flavored
big boy.
Alka-Seltzer. Gross.
So when do I struggle? I guess it's kind of like
Your listeners are like, oh, goddamn, here he goes with the noises.
the nicest, yes. I think I kind of touched on this in my first question of what are my struggles. Like I struggle when I know that I have stuff to do and that stuff that I want to make, but it's like I'm not confident enough. I don't I procrastinate and I have a lack of motivation. That's when I struggle. So like, for example, this script, I was going to get it done yesterday. I was going to write all 10 pages yesterday because that's how I roll. Like I sit down and I do it all at once.
Can I be in it?
It's not my decision. She does this all the time. Like,
look, I gotta find work for myself.
I need the work. Taylor was there for a while and Mitchell was there.
Yes.
And we're sitting in Foundry and I just could not write this goddamn script.
Oh,
and I'm just like, I know what I want this to be. I know what it's about. But I just couldn't put the scenes together. And so it was just like a procrastination thing of like, okay, well, I'm going to get on my phone and scroll through things and put the phone down. Like, okay, now I'm going to work. Well, I got to go to the bathroom. Then I'm going to get a cup. Then I'm going to get a cup of water. And then I'm going to order some food.
I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it just leads to a lack of motivation because it's like, well, now I only have an hour and I'm not going to get anything done in that hour. And so it's just, I struggle when I don't have any motivation, but I don't know how to find that motivation all the time. And so I try to like find ways to find motivation, I guess. Like, and this is weird, okay? But I used to find that like Pinterest always gave me inspiration because I follow a lot of like art boards and
I was thinking about Pinterest today actually, so it's ironic that you
I
brought it
only
up.
look at food on Pinterest.
See, and that's how my mom is.
Yeah.
But I follow a lot of like concept art boards and a lot of like character art boards that can like inspire a character or a scene or an image or like photography in me. And so then I try to use that so that can help.
That's interesting.
It's
you should
weird,
link
right?
me.
I'll link
it to me.
I'll link you. Nope. But I guess that kind of moves in to the third question. And I'll start on this one because we're already kind of talking about this. How do you get past your struggle? Okay, so I'm talking about how I use Pinterest as a way sometimes to like look at art and like motivate myself. But I'm also trying to do this thing, Jesus, that's gross. I'm also in this new year, trying to be more organized because I feel like if I can, like you said, like figure out when you're going to talk about when you're going to do what when. That way you can have the time to do your personal things like Taylor, you were talking about.
I'm all about organizing your life.
And
hire me to be your personal organizational.
She's my agent.
Oh my God.
For my life.
She's already Mitchell's lawyer. She's my lawyer,
if you want my
when she's not
client
against
to sign
me.
anything, it has to go through me first.
It's fucking ridiculous.
She just needs to come at me with like a spray ball and be like, whenever I'm like
It's the
not doing
Aries
anything,
in me. It's the
she'd be like,
command and the
do
Aries.
your work, and I'll just be like, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's how I'm trying to work past my struggles. It's also like I used to just sign myself up for everything and I got so burnt out.
Yeah,
like,
high school.
Yeah. I mean, well, in high school, I felt like it was so much easier because it's like, okay, in this like August, September, it was marching band. And then in...
You were in marching band?
Oh, yeah.
I was in marching band.
I was drum captain, my guy. Not drum major, drum captain. Like snare captain, snare line captain.
Like
yeah.
section leader.
Yep, I was like,
Can you show me how you guys walk later with your like?
Oh my
hell
God,
yeah!
Get out of here. What did you play, Annie?
I played clarinet.
How did I know that? I fucking knew it.
Because the clarinet's like the misfit section. We all know it.
I played bass drum my first year, and then I was second snare my sophomore year, and then I was second snare my junior year and lead snare my senior year.
Ooh, lead center snare.
You betcha.
Jeff,
you betcha.
I was section leader my senior year.
Were you?
That was wild.
It was good times, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like you have things blocked out. So then it was October. We started mock trial. We started one acts. We were finishing fall play. So October, November, December, it's mock trial and one acts. Then you hit January and you have speech season. And then in February, March, you end speech season. And then you have musical. And it's like everything's lined out for you. You
it's
know?
like blocked out.
But now here it's like you have things that you can do all year long. And it doesn't matter.
True.
And I feel like that lack of organization has killed me because then it's just like, okay, well, I need to find things to do. So I'm just going to sign myself up for everything. And then I get burnt out. So what I've done instead is like tried to fix this is like I was saying is like kind of plan things out better as well as not do as much. Like this semester I was going to And I've talked about this on the show before. Like I miss kind of like talking and performing and stuff like that. So I was going to audition for Theatrix, and I was quickly like, you are going to die if you do that.
Oof.
If it like being lucky enough to make it, I guess is what I mean. So I'm trying to like lower that, and so I can focus on these things. And funny notes. Good job, Taylor.
Thank you.
And so, yes, my two things of how I'm trying to get past my struggles is I'm trying to find motivation in Pinterest and not burn myself out on things. And it's helping a little bit so far. So once we're done with this show and I got to write these 7 more pages for this script, I'm going to go through Pinterest for an hour, and then we're going to do it.
Nice.
Taylor, how do you get past your struggles?
Well, I guess I accidentally touched on this earlier. But I think 3 things have really helped me get past my struggles. One is Mitchell, because he's so inspirational.
Yes.
Aw.
I know.
He's your muse.
He really, literally, I said that today because at work I was writing poetry about him.
Oh my, that's so cute.
That's like a big reason why I started writing poetry is because I have so much feeling for him and I don't know how to express it like speaking. It's all in my head, and so I just kind of like write it down in free verse.
It's so soft.
Oh my god.
I wish somebody cared about me.
Oh my god. And so he's just today at work I was writing, and I had one of my coworkers, her name is Brittany, read it, and she's like, oh my god, this is so amazing, who is this about? And I was like, it's about my boyfriend. And she's like, and I was like, he's kind of like my muse. Like, he really is.
So you've used him to help get past some of your struggles.
Yeah. Not like in an unhealthy way.
Sure. Where it's like, you're like, it's...
But like, he's helped me so much. We help each other, which is really nice.
It's not like he's your crutch. Like, you're just using him. Right.
No. He motivates me to be better. We like motivate each other. We talk about like how we're going to be successful by doing this and this, and like how we're going to like lift each other up, and we grow together, which I think is really healthy.
In a relationship,
this is the healthiest relationship I've ever been in my entire life, and I am flourishing. Every time anybody asks me like how I'm doing, I always say I'm great.
Yeah.
Because I really am. Like, besides all these struggles that I have to deal with like as a creative, like my life is amazing, and I wouldn't change anything
That's great.
for the world. I get through my struggles by writing everything down. I'm trying to write that play, like I said, because there's so many negative feelings and hardships with that past relationship that I struggle with still. And every time I try and sit down and write about it, like write my play, I get angry recently. Like, I get so mad, and I say to myself, like, Taylor, why did you let this happen? Like, why? Like, did you put yourself through this?
But it's in the past. Like, you can't change.
No. I know that. But, like, right now, it's, like, hard for me to sit down and do that. But I know it's a good outlet for me to get everything out. So, because I feel like it's all weighing on me a lot of times.
Catharsis,
yes,
if you will.
I need catharsis from this situation, and that's why I'm trying to write this play. The idea is, it's just one room.
Okay.
Ooh.
And the walls, when this is a big production on Broadway, the walls are gonna
I fucking love that.
the walls are gonna move in slowly until like the very end scene where it's just like this small box and this girl's just sitting in it. Yeah.
Good God.
I know.
I love that.
We need a
spicy.
good big budget.
I have a crisp $5 bill for you.
We'll take what we
What
can
can
get.
you do with $5?
But I think the combination of writing my emotions down, even if my poetry isn't about Mitchell, it's just my feelings that I can't express through words. I write poetry about anxiety attacks that I have a lot, because that's the only way for me to like get out of my head.
Yeah.
Is to write it all down, and I'll like read it out loud to myself. And like I said, I'll be posting more stuff on my Instagram.
Which we look forward to.
Thank you.
Yes.
But I've posted a lot of stuff on my Finsta, not Sinsta. My Finsta.
Yeah. Fake.
Yeah, fake
F is for
Finsta.
fake. Insta.
I honestly thought people said Instas are like secret Instas. I thought it was like a sinning Insta.
That's what I think.
It's the same thing.
That's what in high school. That's what it was always.
Yeah.
Is like,
They
this is
call
your
it a
sin
Finsta.
account.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
I don't know. People up here say Sinsta. I say Finsta. Like the rest of the
It's
fucking
like a
I
world.
regional
flip-flop.
thing. It's like pop and soda.
Get out of here.
Pop. I
Another
would not
debate
say
for another
pop.
day for another day. When Annie, how do you get past your struggles?
Okay. I wanted to talk about Pinterest a little bit because, like, I feel like I should have hopped on that Pinterest bandwagon, but instead I use
it's still an app.
I use Instagram like Pinterest.
Oh, interesting.
You showed me.
I have collections.
That's cool.
I think I like Instagram better because it's like it's probably the same for Pinterest, but I don't actually know. But I think Pinterest people mostly just repost stuff. Like Instagram, you can look through a whole body of work of one person.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that on Pinterest. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Also,
Just trying to help you find your way to Pinterest.
Also, I think more people are on, like more creative people are on Instagram. Like
the
creators.
makeup accounts.
Well, yeah, there's makeup accounts. There's a lot of photographers. A lot of photographers.
Yes.
A lot of cinematographers on like Instagram. I don't know if they're on Pinterest. That's why I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
But maybe one day I'll join the Pinterest bandwagon. I don't know.
Come on.
I tried it for my Cornell box and then I just stopped.
What song did you use for your Cornell box?
I did Ready Able by Grizzly Bear. Great
Ooh.
track. Give it a listen.
Parker, what'd you use?
Teachers by Young the Giant.
I'm not surprised it's Young the Giant
Dude, that song. But okay, but here's the deal. I picked that song and I was like, okay, it's cool. And then when I listened to it hundreds of times, like every time I was like working on my Cornell box, I was listening to that song.
Like on repeat?
Yes. And it is like, I got really into it and I really like dove into the lyrics and man, they slap. Everything they create, everything they create and produce slaps. What song did you use? I don't know why we were on this topic. We're going to get back soon, but
I did Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
Of course you did. Yes.
Hey, fuck you. I love Fleetwood Mac.
No, do you have a playlist that I can list it? Because I've never been into Fleetwood Mac.
Literally, I will make you one.
Thank you.
It's on air, so now I have to do it. I'll make you a Fleetwood Mac.
I love it when people make me playlists because it's like the stuff that they're connected to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mitchell made me a playlist.
Aw.
Is it all Logic songs? I'm calling him out. I'm kidding. I know he likes music more than that.
He does love Logic. He made me a playlist about songs that remind him of me, and we can like
so
share it. He sent me a video. I love when you say it's so soft.
So soft.
He sent me a video over this is just the Mitchell podcast. That's what it's turned
Parker and
into.
Annie are sad because they're single and basking in Taylor's relationship.
Oh my god, no. He made me a video over the summer, like a YouTube style video of like reading funny comments and like things. And then at the end he was like, scan this QR code, and it was a picture of us for the Spotify playlist that he made. And I was like watching it and I was like
Get you a man's that turns you into a QR code.
I know. And so it's called Titchell because that's our name.
Yeah.
Aww.
And
Titchell.
no.
Stop. Don't feed into
so
it.
Cute.
Don't feed into it. I refuse.
And we can like add songs. Like I can add songs too. So whenever I like listen to a song that like reminds me of him, I can like add it to it. It's.
I'm pissed. Anyway,
I'm sorry, Mitchell.
Annie, how do you
when you listen to this?
How do you get past your struggles?
I guess like touching on like the representation thing. Be the change you want to see in the like that kind of keeps me going.
Yeah.
Being the change, like so you can help people like.
So you kind of use outside sources to fuel you.
Yes, I like to look at things, and I draw a lot of inspiration for like music, and looking at cool pictures.
That's neat.
I wish I like read. I wish I was good at reading.
I wish I could read.
I wish I could read.
Can't read.
My mom told me that you don't need to read in order to be a smart person.
That's what I say in Ogallala.
Shut the fuck up.
It takes me so long to get through like stuff. I can read poetry because it's short, but like
So you
Mine
use
doesn't even
read like
rhyme. Even better
doesn't
for
have
you
to.
to read.
So you use outside motivation, like motivational things to like kind of like to push you
me,
past.
I guess for if I was in an art block.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like how you use the word art block instead of like writer's block.
I'm trying writing because I know that I should do it because apparently like the best way to get your break is to write a script, and also it's like very cheap to do because
It's free.
it's free.
I mean, you have to pay for the software, but you don't even have to use software. For
Writer
God's
Duet
sakes.
is free.
Don't use Writer Duet.
I'm using Writer Duet.
Use Fade In. I love Fade In. One-time
Do you
fee.
have
I
to
don't
pay
know
for
what
it?
One-time
you're,
fee.
you're
I'm
talking
broke.
about.
It was like cheap. I don't know how much.
Okay. Well, bottom line is
Bottom
like
line, motherfuckers.
writing is free because like if you make stuff, you need to have equipment. You have to have, you can't.
You just
like,
have your brain.
It's more planning, yeah. And then, yeah. But
So-
like obviously like I'm not really I would still consider myself to be more of like an art focused
Yeah.
person, visual arts focused person rather than cuz I don't know a lot of film things yet.
It's okay.
So I'm just trying to like
I don't either.
slowly make my way in there,
I don't know anything.
you know?
So, and I think it's cool that because, like, for us, use your relationship and that kind of place that you're at right now to like push you past things.
Mhm. Also, my friends are great.
We are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great, by the way. And I use, I try to like find inspiration in like visible things, or I like try to organize. I think it's cool that you use like things that are meant to be motivational, like quotes like that to like get you going.
Mantras.
Mm,
Yes.
So moving into our fourth question.
my question.
Yes. Taylor, would
I
you like to ask
created-
it?
Yeah.
It's right.
I couldn't read it. I'm sorry.
It's let me see here.
How do your struggles as a creative translate into your personal life? Or do they translate into your personal life? And how do you deal with that?
Ooh.
Can I start?
Boom. Yeah.
Okay, so I will definitely say yes, because if I'm struggling creatively, it affects so much of my being, because it's like something that I want to do and I want to succeed in. And so when it's not going well, I am very upset. I'm better about it now after realizing my faults and trying to fix my faults, ever since November and stuff like that. New year, new me. But I used to, and still can get into when things aren't working well or things aren't received very well, I just like shut down, because you guys know me. I'm a very talkative person. I want to know how you're doing. I want to talk to you. Let's chit chat. Let's make jokes. Let's hang out. Let's have some fun. But when I'm struggling, that all goes away.
Yeah.
I remember specifically the beginning of fall semester this year, we were supposed to have our screenplays in for screenwriting class. And I had a screenplay idea and I was working on it, and it's that thing of like I wasn't working on it, I was procrastinating, where I missed the deadline. I missed the due date. And my professor was not happy with me, rightfully so, because he knew that I was better than this. And I got points taken off, and I got very upset. And I was like being kind of shitty to myself. I was just like, yeah, I'm not worth it. Like, I was saying these things out loud. Like Mitchell and I were walking to Wendy's, as we do every day of the
Wendy's.
week.
I love Wendy's. Get that Wendy app.
Oh my god.
Wendy's app.
I have a Frosty card.
This episode of the PALS podcast brought to you by Wendy's.
Oh,
Maybe
it's in
we'll-
the shape of Nebraska.
I know, it's so cute.
How cute.
Maybe we'll be sponsored by Wendy's instead of LaCroix.
Stop.
Let's get sponsored by Nebraska.
Done. I'll give it to us. So anyway, we were walking and he was like, how's your script? And I was like, it's just a piece of shit. Like, I can't get past it. And I was like, just saying things. And he was like, why are you doing this? Like, he literally asked me, back to Mitchell. God damn, can we ever get off of him?
No.
And he was like, just stop. Like, it's okay. Like, you're going to be, yeah, that's the dust chamber. It's making noises. Oof. He was like, it's going to be all right. He was like, yes, you did this to yourself, but you're going to be fine. And so it definitely can affect my friendships. And I put so much value into emotions and connections.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm struggling with myself, whether it's creative or not, and things don't go my way and I'm not getting the reaction out of people that I want, I like struggle bad. Like, I'm just like get even worse about it, and that takes away from my will, my motivation to do things. So I definitely think that if you're struggling creatively and you can't do the work that you want to be doing, it can totally affect you. And that's something that we've talked about. I don't know if we talked about it on the show or not, but that thing of keeping a work life and a personal life balance.
It's hard.
Especially in a creative way, because you are putting so much of yourself into your work.
I am my art.
Yeah.
As an actor, it's so hard to separate yourself from the work that you're doing, because you are your work of art. It's so hard. I've seen so many people in my class like have that struggle and not know how to like I don't want to say not know how to take a note, but like take it to heart, like it's them personally rather than like what they're like showing us on like stage or what we're doing in the classroom.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So let's go, Annie, and then we'll come back around to you.
Yeah.
Annie, how do you think that if you're struggling, does that affect you personally?
I think like one way that like there's some overlap is like I'm kind of weird about sharing my art with like my family and like I guess other people that aren't. I think I've noticed. I think it's just like with other people that aren't creatives because I feel like they won't like get it or it might seem cringy or like whatever. Like I do have an art Instagram, but I haven't posted any of my drawings or anything.
Oh, you totally should.
Yeah, and I feel like I should, but like some part of me is still like, and like I always like throw away my old stuff because I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
Oh my god.
You know, and I know like people always like my art teacher is always like, you should save that because then you look back on it. I'm like, I don't want to look back on it. It's cringy. It's embarrassing. But I feel like that can kind of get in the way because then like I'm kind of feel like other people kind of get the sense that I'm like losing purpose because it's like, well, if you're going to art school, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like what are you making? And like, again, the journey of like proving myself. I'm like, well, if I can't fucking do this, then what am I?
Yeah.
You know?
So it kind of can affect all your whole world.
Right. But I think it has helped like going to college and just because of that doubt from when you get doubt from others, then you start having that doubt inside too.
Yeah. Because you think that that's real. Because it can be, or they could just be assholes.
Right. And then you're just psyching yourself out because there is some reality to what people say. But like at the same time, it's like you got to push through. And I think going to school and being in like a cohort was really good for me because other people were kind of just like lifting you up, you know?
Yeah.
It's not, I feel like I think in my class, I feel like we are very supportive of each other.
I think you guys are, yeah.
And we're like,
it's
trying to make each other better. We're not
taking each other down
or competitive or anything.
You should keep that.
It's really special.
It's hard too.
Yeah.
It is hard because the industry is so competitive, but like whenever I've like talked to like industry professionals, they're like literally like just be nice to people.
Because
you're a dick, you won't get work.
What the
exactly.
fuck? Here's my question. What the fuck's the point of being an ass? Like, what do you get out of that? You're going to make yourself better? No.
Yeah.
Because the second that someone hears that you're bagging on another production company or you won't hire this grip because of the way that she looks, like that just makes you look bad.
Yeah.
You look like an asshole and then you're not going to get work.
Yeah.
So
Even
in
as
a
an
roundabout
actor.
way, it's a selfish thing, but like just don't do
yeah.
it.
It just kind of gets to your head a little bit, and it's like you need to stay grounded. Like these people are just, they have the same passions as you do.
Yep.
And
That's
they're
why
just trying to-
I keep my friends around, is because like not only because they're amazing people, but because they build me up.
Right.
And that is so important because you as a person can be the most confident guy in the room. And you can have big dick energy all you want. But like at the end of the day, there's got to be somebody else that just gives you, whether it's a little thing or they give you the world. Like it's having a cohort like that is just so special. So
It's really nice.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of a positive spin.
Yes.
I like that.
Very positive spin.
Taylor, take us to town.
I think I totally agree with what you're saying about sharing your art. I think as a whole, it's really hard for me whenever I'm dealing with my creative struggles to open up. Like I said, I'm a really good listener and I
Yes.
care about other people's problems and I put theirs before mine because I don't know, I guess I get nervous or anxious with sharing how I'm feeling
Yeah.
and I don't like sharing that destructive part of myself.
Because it's not always pretty.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
And you're worried about you're concerned about what they think, what they'll think.
And I don't want to drive people away. And I put a lot of walls and guards up around myself with friendships and relationships and family.
Yeah.
And I don't let them see exactly how I'm feeling because I don't want them to judge me or think less of me, I guess, for being in an emotional
You and I have
distress.
talked about that before. Like
Yeah.
when you're feeling like you're worried that someone's going to think differently because of something that you may or may not have done.
Yeah.
So I get that.
And that goes hand in hand with sharing my art. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so personal. It's
Yeah.
so, and especially poetry.
Oh, my God.
I think.
it's so personal and I
Yeah.
get so scared. But now I'm trying to push myself to be better and not be so guarded within myself to let more people in because I deserve happiness. I deserve people
everybody
in my
does.
life. Yeah, I deserve people in my life who want to be there, and I know everyone who is a part of my life who's my friends. Shout out to y'all.
Are you talking about me? I hope you're talking about me.
Well, yeah, I'm on your fucking podcast,
Kick your ass.
so you better be my friend, or else we're gonna have problems.
Here we go. I'm going in.
The PALS Smackdown.
Oh, WWE Pals.
No, it's just like
Pals edition.
it's like pals, but instead of producing awesome life stuff, it like we have it mean like fighting and shit
Michaela
like
said
that.
the other day that like my class has big fighting energy, and like
Yeah.
I swear like we were on like because he said like I think like it was Megan and Allison. They were like Megan's like, Allison, we're friends, right? She's like, yeah. She's like, can you fight me? And she's like, of course. We're just like all like
God.
happy fighting each other.
So
I love that.
I don't
So
know,
Taylor,
chaotic.
when you struggle, like you kind of like guard up, you shield up.
Yeah. And I think that's affected a lot of my friendships and personal like relationships I've had with other people,
Yeah.
other individuals, and with Mitchell. Sometimes I still act like that, and it sucks a lot.
Sure.
I mean, we all can get defensive and put up walls, but eventually like I come around and like we talk and everything turns out fine, and he talks me down from the edge. He's talked me down from so many anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
And no one, like, I've never shared that part of my life
Yeah.
with anyone but him. Like, I don't think I've had an anxiety attack in front of anybody else in my entire life,
Yeah.
except for myself in my mirror and
Yeah.
him. And it scared me the very first time because I didn't know what
How
was
he would
happening.
react.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was so scared that he was going to reject me. Not just in, like, the relationship sense, but, like, as a person.
And helping you.
Yeah. But it was the complete opposite.
Hmm.
And so I think that was kind of the turning point of I should let more people in. Because I put up this
Oh,
like
yeah.
little
I'm Taylor.
front. Yeah.
Right, but you know they're like not truly genuine friends if they're gonna reject you, right? Like, cause like
and you
just
don't make
'cause-
me cry.
Like, I think like
No,
just
I
because you
know
did
it's-
it, like you know
Yeah.
it's
I
real.
swear to God, you make me
know
cry on
it's
this
real.
show.
It's okay, just look at the picture.
My trucker
Just look at
self.
the picture.
Yeah.
I think, Taylor, it's really interesting that you are like very it's harder for you to like to bring these like struggles and like talk to them openly to people, like you were saying, because like I'm such the fucking reverse where
I know you are.
I will tell if anybody wants to know just about anything about me, I'll probably say it at some point.
Like, I'm a very open person about some things, but like when it comes to my feelings and emotions and the struggles that I'm going through, I don't like to share that because I feel like
Wow.
people don't want to hear it.
Oh, see, I just don't care if people don't
Yeah,
care.
I
I just
know,
go.
I know.
And then I'm like, wow, I feel shitty because they really didn't want to have that conversation with me.
But like, I think that also goes back to I haven't been genuinely myself, who I am now, like open and friendly and just
Awesome.
as weird as I am in a long time.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. I drank the rest of my LaCroix.
And you don't want an orange one.
No. But that also goes back to my last relationship because I had to basically be somebody who I wasn't. You know, I had to transform into somebody that he wanted me to be. And it was like, it was really, really hard because who
that
I
wasn't
am
you.
now.
It's not you.
No, who I am now is a completely different Taylor than who I was a
it's
year
Taylor
ago.
is what
Yeah,
it is.
Me now is who I am all the time. Like I say this all the time whenever I talk about Mitchell, which is all the time, apparently. He's the first man I've ever been able to be genuinely myself 100% all the time
Yeah.
with him. Like you have your personality when you're with your friends, and then you have your personality sometimes when you're like with your significant other. Like you want them to like see the best version of you, but like
Yeah, you've put on
I'm
the
a
front.
me how I am with my friends with Mitchell, and he still wants me.
That's an important thing to have.
That, it kind of just blows my mind,
So soft.
Mitchell.
Soft.
When you listen to this,
We're gonna call this episode what do we come up with the title? The Struggle is Real dash
the Mitchell
Mitchell
Kennard
Appreciation
Francis.
the Mitchell
Podcast.
Appreciation Show. All right, so moving on to our last question,
Oh god.
which I think is going to be a fun one. We're gonna get to lighten it up a little bit around here. Annie,
Yes. I will explain.
take us on a ride.
All right, so we're taking it back to Intro to Theater with Ian Borden.
Oh my God, Dad.
And one day so, aside from reading plays and stuff, sometimes he'll get us in a conversation.
Icky.
And one day he told us to all grab a sheet of paper and write down our pipe dream and like the steps that we needed to achieve that. And like the softest
Annie, tell us what a pipe dream is.
Pipe dream, I will look it up because I don't want to screw up the definition.
It's time to play Check That Google.
Okay. All right. Okay. It is an unattainable or fanciful hope or scheme. So basically, like, your wildest goal ever. Like, it could be, like, people can consider it unrealistic, but, like, they happen.
Fuck 'em.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Fuck him.
But, like, the softest thing is, like, he made us go around and, like, we all shared our...
no.
Yeah, it was so soft.
Why didn't he do nice things like that with
I was
us?
like, man, so soft.
Ian's the best. He's underrated.
I do love
for
Ian.
sure.
Ian's great.
Ugh. Have you seen
Yeah.
his picture of his kid,
Maybe.
Eddie? Oh my
Cute
God.
kid.
His little baby's so cute.
But yeah, anyway, we did that. And it was just like, and he was just like the whole year, like he was just been like, okay, this is how it is. Like it's not pretty. The industry's not pretty. And like he's just like going off about all these things. But like this
In that moment.
we all thought he was gonna crush our dreams or something like that. But he
Aw.
was like, you guys, like, keep this in mind. Like, don't be embarrassed of it. And like let
And I
this
love it
like
'cause
keep you going. It's like
I love him because he doesn't go, he's not always like, you can do it. He's like, keep that in mind. Like you can
Yeah.
like, just, and he like does it in a weird way where
keeps
he's
it
not
real.
like, yes, he's not like overly supportive, but he's just like,
Yeah.
yes.
Keep working
real.
towards that goal.
Yeah.
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 So, I'm gonna need a second to think. Taylor,
Oh yeah,
you-
what was the question? Oh yeah, what is your pipe dream?
yeah, what is your pipe dream?
I wanted
and
to
how
bring this.
how to
Annie,
relate
you
that,
go first.
how to
This is your
relate that
question.
to struggles. We are going to talk about like what are the struggles that come along with that, and so based upon your past experiences, how are you gonna persevere?
Boom.
You can smack the table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Why does
like,
Lost Limb
hardly
It's
touches
soft.
it. So
Yes.
Annie, pipe dream.
I
go.
think that like when I did it in class, I said I wanted to win like an Oscar or something like that.
Fuck yeah.
Which is like, but now I'm like, maybe I could get an EGOT. But I'm like, wait,
What?
Oh my God. Yes.
maybe, just maybe. Oh yeah, just once I get my Oscar, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Once you just get one of
No,
those,
but
it's smooth
Might as well
sailing.
but like, I think specifically, I was thinking Oscar at the time because like the Oscars have a reputation. That's the word. Reputation for being like not the most diverse award show.
Ah.
So I
This
was
is
like,
true.
hey, I wanna do that thing. I wanna prove myself in like the highest manner possible.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, other people also had like really soft ones, like telling their stories or like doing this. And I'm like, I wanna do that too.
I'm gonna do it all.
Yeah, I gotta keep the dream alive.
So based upon your past struggles of proving yourself, sorry, I had it written down, I had to look. How do you
God,
think
you weren't paying attention, asshole.
I was? I
I'm
just wanted to
kidding.
make sure.
Just kidding.
How do you think that your past struggles are going to affect you in this pipe dream, and how are you going to overcome that?
I think that like with that, I think I don't want to make this all about me. Like, yeah, I'm winning the Oscar and like no one else. I'm just kidding. But like, yes, I want to win the Oscar, but it's not necessarily like just for like myself. It's like so I can show like other people that like you can do it because like I think that's important. Like for someone that treats representation like a very important thing.
Yes.
Like here to prove that it's like we can do it. We're gonna make progress. And
That's awesome.
yeah,
I love that whole story. Like that whole thing for you is just cool.
Thank
love
you.
that.
Thank you. Soft.
Soft. Taylor,
Well, I always tell everybody that I'm going to be famous.
which you are.
Which I
Yes.
will be. Just fucking wait. You're going to listen to this one day when I'm big old famous and everyone's going to be like, wow.
Please remember me.
I will. Don't worry.
Okay.
You remember me, Miss Oscar.
Ooh, okay. It might be my speech.
You guys are
But I
great.
think one of my big pipe dreams would be like a comedian, like a stand-up comedian. I feel like I've tried to write like stand-up before, and it's so hard. It's really,
Get
really
your own
fucking hard.
Netflix special.
I would love a Netflix
Taylor
special,
Winks.
or like
Netflix original.
or like SNL. Oh, I love to be on SNL. Oh, that'd be so much fun. Or just like a stand-up comedian. Just oh my god.
So here's my
It'd be
question.
So funny because I use comedy to deflect a lot of struggles.
As comedians do.
Yes.
So now here's my thing.
Yes.
You talked a lot about competition with yourself and your anxiety.
Yeah.
We know these things. How are you going to get past them? And how are they going to affect this dream?
I think they'll be an ally to the aid to the. You need to cut
the
that.
goal.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that I don't cut. I could cut, but I'm not.
need
Off
to-
the record.
This is off the record. I think my struggles will aid me, especially in comedy, because I would love to be in like a comedy, like movie, show, SNL, write my own stand-up. I think that would just be so much fun. You know, like once I'm older and wiser and have like learned more about how to cope with my struggles and anxieties better. And I think even right now I'm in a great place. Like
Yes,
obviously I'm
you
still
are.
looking forward and moving forward in the right direction, but it's still an everyday struggle. It's still a process. It's a process. It is always a process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
It was mid yawn.
So I think a great pipeline dream would be to do something fucking awesome with comedy.
Oh wow.
I would
That's
love
cool.
that. Or to be a voice, or to voice like a dirty cartoon.
Like Big Mouth.
Ooh.
Yes.
So-
I would love to do that.
Here, let me just call my. I'm gonna call my buddy John Mulaney and Nick Kroll, and we'll just get you on the show.
Oh my god.
Listen, if I had their phone numbers, I'd use them for my own personal game.
That's all.
I like that. God, this is such a hard question because there's like so many things you want to do, right?
Yeah.
If I could do, what's my biggest pipe dream?
I like pipe dreams because they're so out there and they're so fun. Because
Yeah.
like if you don't do it, who cares? Like if you don't make it's only
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
exactly. But it's also
Okay,
like,
so is there a difference between it's your biggest dream and your pipe dream?
like I think pipe dream is like your wildest, like might not happen ever, but like you're just gonna dream about it, you know?
Oh, wow.
Fuck.
It's like-
well,
Of course, everyone just wants to be content in life, and that's what
Yeah.
they want. But
Yeah.
like your pipe dream is like, oh well, I mean, maybe if this happens, that'd be cool, right? Like, you know, like
Yeah.
owning a mansion or something. I don't know.
I really okay.
I'm gonna stick with my answer, even though it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Final answer.
Yes.
So here's something that's kind of wild that it's not like my biggest dream, but it's something that I've like wanted to do.
Yes.
There are my favorite form of media right now is like long form television series that you can just binge, like Stranger Things, like
Love Stranger Things.
The
It's
Marvelous
alright.
Miss Maisel.
Oh,
Haven't
so
seen that yet, but I've been
good.
recommended.
Oh my god, highly recommend. If you listen to episode
get
I don't
that.
remember, I talked the shit out of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
It's so.
Need to get that
it's so
Second
Prime
season
subscription,
slapped,
though.
right?
I haven't watched it yet, but it's really good.
Let me spoil it. So at the end of the
That's
second, okay. So I have several ideas for like long running, episodic Netflix like ass television shows. And I like my pipe dream right now is to be the writer and showrunner of that and just like kind of get to like I want to be the Taylor wrote down and I be in it. And I was like, oh my
Hey,
god.
2019, shoot your shot.
Yeah,
Boom.
that's what I told myself. Shit, we're
Hey,
starting out
it's
strong.
only January.
There's nothing to shoot right now.
Not yet.
Oh my god,
Ooh.
the year's young.
Mm-hmm.
The year is young.
So like, I guess that I would want to have several of these big, long form shows, and just like
Like Ryan Murphy.
You're gonna be like
Yeah.
the people
I don't
who
know
make
who that is.
like the Office and Parks and Rec and stuff.
That's so
fuck,
funny.
I should
Forgot
know their
their
names.
names.
Damn it, they're doing a new one with Steve Carell. It's called
The Google.
Stop. Are you kidding me?
Let's play another game of Check That Google.
How do I even like? What do I even Google? The Office. The Office.
All right, we
Office
stop.
creators or something like that.
Creators?
Literally, Steve Carell in The Office fucking kills me
Did you
every
guys
single
see-
time I watch it.
I sent a Snapchat out today, and I was
I don't
watching.
think I have you on Snapchat.
I don't think so either.
It's Pale Seduction.
We've been
if
friends
anybody
for
wants to
this
add me,
long?
it's Pale Seduction.
That's ridiculous. But anyway, I want to come up with these shows, and I want to be able to collaborate with people that see what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a couple. One of them is about a group of loggers set in this sci-fi kind of future.
Chop down trees,
But-
loggers.
That's what you think. And then there's all these weird outside things that happen to them.
Ew.
It's so
I got
cool.
goosebumps.
Greg
I'll show you.
Daniels
Greg Daniels.
and Michael Schur.
There's your answer, folks.
Mm.
But I wrote that was what I wrote to get into the school was a treatment of an episode.
Stop.
It's not a whole treatment
That's
because
cool.
they could only they would only allow 5 pages.
Ugh.
But the ending of it is so creepy. So there's the camp of the loggers in their RV, and there's one guy that's coming to the new location, and it's late at night. And it's raining. And he stops at this gas station, and the gas station clerk is freaking out because when it rains, that's when they come. And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about? Nothing's gonna come for you, bro."
Who's they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's
Can I be the
freaking
monster?
out.
it's supposed to be this scary thing, but it's
It's
these
Taylor.
people it's these people, me, dressed up in spooky costumes, and then the person's like, "Ah!"
It's Taylor. So
The trucker.
he's in the gas station, and you start hearing.
The trucker.
Stop. He's in the gas station. You start hearing these loud poundings on the roof, and the guy, the gas station clerk, he checks him out and he leaves, and you see him pull out a gun from under the counter because he's getting ready to fight these things, and then so the guy that's going to the camp, he's getting in his car and he's just chilling, puts it in reverse, and he's backing out, and the lights inside the gas station go out. And when they turn back on, the gas station clerk is gone, and there's blood all over the windows and shit like that. So, but the guy doesn't see it because he's already driven away. So he's driving down the road. Okay.
Face right now.
He's driving down the road, and he takes his 5-hour energy that he bought.
Sponsored by 5-Hour Energy.
Thank you. Or an energy kind of supplement like that.
Yeah.
And the rain is starting to come down even harder.
Oh no.
And he takes a drink, and when he looks back at the road, running,
Oh my.
sprinting next to
The
him.
monsters run.
Let me tell you. Just
It's
listen.
Taylor.
You guys have to listen. You guys suck at listening.
I'm a good listener.
Sorry. Next to him is this gray, tall, lanky, just
Slenderman.
it's kind of and it has no facial expressions. It's just all these you just see. I'm not gonna do this. You guys suck.
No, I'm listening. I'm just picturing
Annie,
me
you suck.
in gray
to deflect
paint.
my spooked out brain with comedy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So it's
We'll
just
listen.
one
Yeah,
of
we're
them
listening.
at first, and he looks down at the bottle. He's like, what is in this thing? And he looks back up at the road, and there's 40 of them running along with him, in front of him, behind him. So he swerves. He swerves, and he spins out, and he's still on the road, and he looks up,
Oh,
and then there's just one of them right in front of him,
No.
Just one single gray Taylor.
and it starts walking towards the truck.
Slenderman Taylor.
It starts walking towards the truck, and he
It.
yes, it.
It.
He throws it in drive, and then right before he hits it, it just sidesteps him. It didn't even want him. And so that's when I had to end the treatment. But it's this creepy.
I don't like that.
It's this creepy world where stuff like this happens to these loggers, and it's how they deal with it.
Please let it be such a serious thing. Like the story, the actors in it, everything's so serious, but it's funny.
Yeah.
It's just me.
It sounds.
There's 40 of me in gray sweatpants, a sweatshirt.
No, you should be in a morph suit.
Wow, is this what collaboration is like? Because I don't like
Yes.
it. It takes certain.
No, that sounds really dope.
It takes
Yeah.
inspirations from several different shows. Obviously, the first thing I always thought of when I was writing it was Stranger Things, because that's just what I was thinking at the time.
I thought of The Mist.
That's kind of like something else too.
The Mist is so scary. Have you guys seen the Mist? Have you seen the Mist, Annie?
That was like, I'd seen pictures from the Mist, and I was like,
not
Have
a
you never
big
seen
horror
it?
person.
no.
Oh my god. The one person who's not a film major has seen a movie that the two film majors haven't seen.
That's
I've
what I get
seen
shit
like
about.
3 movies.
Yes, that's what I get shit about all the time. Is like, well, you need to be like studying this, you need to be watching them, and I'm like, where's the time?
Yeah, and like
Look,
you have
you
to
right.
buy movies.
I mean, Mitchell and I have done this cool thing where we try to see a movie in theaters every week.
I've been to every single one of those. Don't
Yes.
count me out.
No, I'm just saying, but he came he came with the idea to me, and then I was like, yes, and then you came along. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm just along for the ride.
Oh, for
I'm not
fuck's
a
sake,
part.
that's not what I meant. My words being taken out of context.
What's new?
Shocker.
the first scandal on the
Did we
PALS
get
podcast.
yeah, the first scandal. Did we get around? I think we did.
Yeah.
Wow. That I thought this was gonna take way longer.
This was a lot less sad than I thought it was gonna be.
I told you guys, I was like, let's just have
Yeah.
fun. Let's just this is kind of a heavy topic,
Nice.
but we did
No
it.
tears were shed.
Thank God. I thought I was
Almost. You
gonna
were
fucking
close
ball.
there.
Picture
Look.
got you through.
The trucker
The
picture.
trucker Taylor.
Annie
Trucker
got
Taylor.
bless. Thank you.
LaCroix sucks.
No, it does not.
Don't.
I'm sorry, I'm slandering LaCroix right now.
Do you guys have anything else? Because I
Thanks
don't.
for listening.
Really.
Thanks. Yeah.
Please
So-
like and subscribe.
Oh my God. Next week I'm gonna do a what's in my bag.
Oh my lord. So thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Annie, for coming on this very special 8th episode of the PALS podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
No,
It was fun.
I'm glad you had a good time
Yeah.
because this episode I was like, I'm a little nervous
She
how
gonna
this
be
is gonna
deep.
go. Shit gonna be deep, and it
Yeah.
really wasn't. Like we had
deep
deep
chungus.
we had deep chunk of talks, but like we came out the other end better, I would say. So
I think this also opens up, like I said, opens up the conversation for others.
yeah, I hope so.
Also.
Yes.
And that's something that we talked about when we were talking preliminarily months ago about this episode is like we want people to have these conversations because we don't have these talks enough.
No,
Oh yeah.
it should be normalized.
Because
Because not everybody's happy-go-lucky dandy
No.
all the time.
no, I certainly am not, and I try to like be as obnoxious as possible. So I think mission
You do a
accomplished.
good job.
It's just important that we talk about like depression and anxiety and struggling and stuff like that because it's a part of life.
Happens
And-
to everyone.
yes.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for being here. Remember, pals, that you can find us by looking us up on YouTube, Spotify, Podbean for all these episodes weekly, Thursday at 11 a.m. These babies are dropped. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. On Facebook, it's just the pals, not the pals, just pals. Let me clarify.
PALS.
Yes. And then
In
on
case you didn't know how to spell.
on Twitter and Instagram, you can find us by looking up at _pals_. We would appreciate a follow, some likies, whatever you got to do. Make sure you get these episodes on the weekly. And to round us out, just remember to always smile a little smile because things will always get better. I've shortened it up. Do you like that? I
Yeah,
like it
that's
better.
hot.
It's hot. So, my name is Parker Reil. I'm your host of the PALS podcast, and
My
we'll
name
see
is
you.
Taylor Winks.
My name is Annie Wang.
And we'll see you on the next episode.